What's going on, everyone? John Venus here. I'm joined today with Leo. Link to his channel in the description box below. Today we're going to tackle a topic that a lot of people are probably interested in, and it's going to be animal proteins versus plant proteins and which one wins. So what a lot of people talk about and debate over is the bioavailability of protein. So what bioavailability means is how much of the protein is absorbed into your body from different kinds of foods.
To be honest with you guys, most studies I've seen actually don't find that much of a big difference between the bioavailability of plant proteins versus animal protein. It's probably somewhere in the range of 1 to 3% less bioavailable, so it's not a big difference. So when you say it's a lot more bioavailable, it's actually a tiny difference. There are actually big studies like the EPIC study, the European Prospective Investigation to Cancer Nutrition, have done a study looking at how much of the amino acids vegans compared to vegetarians, compared to omnivores, how much they're actually eating, and not only how much they're eating, but how much they're actually getting absorbed into their blood. So this is bioavailability. So if it was very little bioavailable, it wouldn't go into the blood. So they tested these people and they had all of the amino acids that they were consuming were over the recommended daily intakes for vegans as well as all the other groups, and these people weren't even like, they weren't taking supplements or anything, they were just eating the way that they usually eat. So it's not really that big of a deal as many people think.
So next thing we have to cover is nitrogen balance. A lot of people just throw the word out there. Nitrogen balance just means it's a measurement used to see if you're absorbing enough protein.
So the thing is, carbohydrates and fats are mostly carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, while nitrogen is found in proteins. So that is why they use nitrogen as a measurement for your protein. So they measure how much nitrogen you take in and how much nitrogen that comes out, and if the nitrogen coming out is more than what you take in, then you're in a negative nitrogen balance, while if you're taking in more than you're getting rid of, you're in a positive nitrogen balance. You're eating more protein than your requirement.
Do vegans have a negative nitrogen balance, like typically? Obviously not. Right?
No, exactly. That's definitely not the case, so don't worry. I've read a few studies on this, and most people are actually in a positive nitrogen balance, even going as low as 0.9 or even 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of lean body mass.
So it's very, very easy to get, actually.
Exactly.
Like, especially if you're into fitness and you're eating the right foods with like beans, lentils, grains, legumes, you're getting way, way, way above that. And obviously we're talking about minimum requirements in general, but we also want to cover a little bit of bodybuilding and fitness and stuff like that.
So obviously if you're doing endurance, you don't need as much protein as if you're trying to put on mass and trying to build your body as much as you can. And the recommendations there were anywhere between 1.2 to 1.7 grams per kilogram, and there are so many people doing more than 2 grams per kilogram. So 1.7 was like the highest value that they were recommending. That is like the safe zone. Like, you could probably be doing just fine in terms of muscle synthesis, even below 100. Remember that if you're getting enough protein to be healthy, the body is constantly making loads of new proteins, everything from cell membrane proteins to antibodies to hormones, everything. There's so many proteins being made all the time, and you also have to remember the body is very good at recycling what it already has. So you don't need as much new protein to build muscle as a lot of people think.
So we can't leave out talking about amino acid profiles. In the fitness community, especially in the bodybuilding community, everyone's talking about amino acid profiles, that you're not getting complete proteins from plants. Are plants complete proteins, or are they not complete proteins?
Most people think complete protein means you have all the amino acids in it, right? But the term complete protein actually doesn't describe that. The term complete proteins means you have very high amounts of some specific essential amino acids in that protein. One protein might have all the amino acids, and another one might have also all the amino acids, but just a little bit higher in some of the essential amino acids, and therefore that one is complete while the other isn't.
So let's talk about a little bit of combining foods to get the complete amino acids to build muscle for bodybuilding on a vegan diet. A lot of people say you have to combine proteins in every meal. You have to combine rice and beans, chickpeas and quinoa, whatever. Is that really necessary?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point to bring up, because I think this actually turns a lot of people away from trying this. Is that they think that they actually have to become super organized and they plan out every single meal. As long as you're not eating the same exact food all day, it is almost impossible to go short on any amino acid while eating enough calories. It actually turns out to be that more of some of these essential amino acids, sulfur containing amino acids, especially methionine and cysteine, can actually be a negative thing to have too much. It because these things are actually metabolized into sulfuric acid in the body, which actually creates more acidic environment, acidosis, which is, you know, been shown to stimulate inflammation, support cancer growth.
If you don't really care and you want the most amount of amino acids, actually tofu is a vegan option. It scores like the second highest on all amino acids, so it's extremely complete. So if you actually care about that, you know, soybean and tofu is one of the best foods for, you know, that purpose.
Yeah, and just lentils, legumes in general have very good amino acid profiles as well.
Now let's talk a little bit about muscle growth. There are unfortunately no direct studies that, you know, show the anabolic effects of plant protein versus animal protein. At least the studies show the bioavailability between plant protein and animal protein. There is not much of a difference at all.
It's pretty amazing, but yeah, no study on postprandial anabolic effects of plant versus animals. There was actually a study comparing rice protein supplementation versus whey protein supplementation, and there were no differences in you know, the benefits of the recovery or the muscle growth, you know, so it was the same for both groups.
And there are a ton of examples of vegan bodybuilders, myself included, that it is possible to build a lot of muscle if you do it right. If you're not just eating junk food, vegan diets, you know, just eating burgers or cereal all day and Oreos, it's easy.
If you're just eating processed foods and soda all day, then that's pretty much the only way you're gonna really get deficient.
And we also have to remember that, you know, food is a complete package. We can't just, you know, look at the amino acids. If you're eating meat, okay, you're getting some, you know, awesome bioavailable proteins and amino acids, but there's a lot more going on than just the amino acids that you're looking for.
And that is the problem with the limitation of a lot of these studies that are looking at how much you're intaking, right? So just because you're eating this much calcium or this much protein or this much iron doesn't mean that this is going to translate to better levels in your blood. That is why we need more studies like the one that we just read about, the EPIC study, who actually looked at the blood levels of the different amino acids in vegans and found that they weren't deficient. Even when you're comparing the muscle benefits, the difference is extremely tiny, but the health benefits are definitely huge. Remember, it's not always the more the better. Whether it's plant or animal proteins, you know, if you're eating an excessive amount of protein, it has been shown to be detrimental to your health. So we're not really comparing, you know, one getting too little and one getting enough. We're comparing one getting a little more than enough and one getting way more than enough, you know, so it's not always the more the better.
So if you ask me, and I think everyone agrees with me in this perspective, if you don't need to kill an animal for your protein sources, if you don't need to support cruel practices, why do it when there is a better way? It doesn't need to be boring, it can be a lot of fun and saving the planet at the same time, you know, not contributing to the CO2 and methane emissions. Sounds like a win-win situation, and I think a lot of people are starting to open their minds and see this, and I'm really pumped up to see, you know, the world changing in this direction. So that's it for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment if you enjoyed it, share the video, that's the most important thing. Spread the message, get it out there, and make sure to subscribe to my channel and to Leo's channel, link in the description box below. Anyway guys, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace out.